The church bells tolled like a thunderclap, shattering the serene California afternoon as Brandon stood at the altar, his heart pounding with a mix of joy and terror he hadn't anticipated. In that split second, as Ethan reached for his hand, a trio of identical children burst through the doors, their voices rising in a haunting melody that froze every guest in place. Little did Brandon know, that song wasn't just an interruption. It was the key to unraveling the family secrets that had haunted him for 30 years, secrets buried in betrayal, loss, and the unyielding fight for love. Brandon Mitchell had always felt like a puzzle with missing pieces. Growing up in the foster system of Los Angeles, he bounced from home to home, each one a temporary shelter that never quite fit. By 18, he was out on his own, scraping by in the bustling streets of West Hollywood, where the vibrant LGBT community became his first real family. It was there, amid the rainbow flags and pulsing nightlife, that he met Ethan Harper, a charismatic graphic designer with a laugh that could light up the darkest alley. Ethan, with his easy confidence and unwavering support, had pulled Brandon from the shadows of his past. Now, at 32, Brandon was about to marry the man who made him believe in forever. Their wedding was set in a picturesque chapel overlooking the Pacific Ocean in Malibu, a place that symbolized new beginnings. The guest list was intimate. Friends from the community center where Brandon volunteered, Ethan's supportive parents, and a few colleagues who'd become like siblings. As the organist played the processional, Brandon adjusted his tuxedo, feeling the weight of the ring in his pocket. Ethan's eyes locked on his from across the aisle, filled with a love that made Brandon's chest ache. "This is it," he whispered to himself, stepping forward. But as the vows began, the doors swung open with a dramatic creak. 3 children, no older than 10, identical in their curly brown hair and wide hazel eyes, marched in uninvited. They wore matching outfits, crisp white shirts and khaki shorts, as if they'd stepped out of a catalog. The guests murmured in confusion, but the triplets ignored them, linking arms and beginning to sing. Their voices were pure, harmonious, weaving through the air like a forgotten lullaby. In the shadows of the oak, where the river meets the sea, a family's bond unbroken through eternity. Brandon's world tilted. That melody, it clawed at the edges of his memory, pulling him back to fragmented dreams of a childhood home he could barely recall. Ethan squeezed his hand, concern etching his features. "Who are they?" he mouthed. The officiant paused, flustered, as the song continued, drawing every eye. The triplets finished with a flourish. Then one stepped forward, a girl with a determined gaze. "We're here for Uncle Brandon," she declared boldly. "Grandma sent us." Chaos erupted softly, whispers turning to questions. Brandon's knees weakened. Uncle? He had no family, or so he'd believed. His biological parents had died in a car accident when he was 3, or that's what the records said. No siblings, no relatives. Yet these children stared at him with eyes that mirrored his own. Ethan, ever the protector, stepped in front of Brandon. "This is our wedding. Who are you really?" The girl, who introduced herself as Mia, flanked by her brothers Liam and Noah, pulled out a crumpled photo from her pocket. It showed a young woman holding a baby, Brandon as an infant, with a man beside her, both smiling under that same oak tree from the song. "This is your mom," Mia said. "And our grandma. She couldn't come, but she said the song would prove it." Brandon's mind raced. How could this be? He'd searched for years, hitting dead ends in adoption records. Ethan guided him to a side room, the wedding on hold, as the guests buzzed outside. The triplets followed, their innocence cutting through the tension. "Grandma's sick," Liam added quietly. "She wants to see you before. You know." As the sun dipped lower, casting golden hues through the windows, Brandon felt a storm of emotions. Anger at the interruption, curiosity gnawing at him, and a flicker of hope he'd long suppressed. Ethan held him close, whispering, "Whatever this is, we'll face it together." That night, instead of honeymoon bliss, they drove to San Francisco, where the triplets said their grandmother lived. The drive was tense, filled with the children's chatter about school and games, but underlying it was the weight of unspoken truths. Arriving at a modest Victorian house in the Haight-Ashbury district, they were greeted by an elderly woman in a wheelchair, her face lined with years but eyes sharp and familiar. "Brandon," she breathed, tears welling. My grandson. Her name was Evelyn, and as she spoke, the pieces began to fall. Brandon's mother, her daughter, hadn't died in a car accident. It was a cover story. The truth was darker. Brandon's parents had been disowned by their conservative family when they came out as a lesbian couple in the 1990s. Wait, no, that didn't fit. Let's clarify. Brandon's father was gay, but hid it, married his mother, had him, then left for his true love, causing a family rift. The accident was real, but the family erased the queer history to avoid scandal. Evelyn explained haltingly, her voice trembling. Your father, my son, was gay. He married your mother to please us, but it broke him. After you were born, he left for a man named Robert. Your mother, devastated, took you away. The car crash. It was her, alone, after dropping you at a foster home. We thought you were gone too. The triplets, her great-grandchildren from another child, had grown up hearing whispers of the lost uncle. The song, Evelyn said, was a family heirloom, passed down from her Irish ancestors, sung at every gathering. It unlocked memories for you, didn't it? She asked. Brandon nodded, flashes returning, his mother humming it by a river. Tears flowed as he confronted the pain of abandonment, but also the joy of connection. Ethan sat beside him, a steady presence, reminding him that family was chosen too. That revelation night stretched long, filled with stories of regret and redemption. Evelyn apologized for the family's silence, born of shame in a less accepting era. We were wrong, she admitted. Love is love. The triplets, sensing the gravity, hugged Brandon, their small arms bridging generations. As dawn broke, Brandon felt a shift, a lost history reclaiming its place, turning his wedding interruption into a profound reunion. Back in Malibu the next day, the wedding resumed with an unexpected twist. Guests, intrigued by the drama, welcomed the triplets as honorary ring bearers. Brandon and Ethan exchanged vows under the same archway, but now with Evelyn watching via video call, her frail smile beaming. In sickness and in health, Brandon promised, his voice steadier, infused with newfound depth. The ceremony, once interrupted, now felt complete, as if the universe had conspired to weave loose threads. Post-wedding, the couple delved deeper into the family history. Ethan, with his designer's eye for detail, helped digitize old photos Evelyn sent. They uncovered letters from Brandon's father, hidden in attic boxes, revealing a man torn between duty and desire. I loved your mother as a friend, one letter read. But my heart belonged to Robert. I hope one day you'll understand. Brandon's anger simmered. Why hadn't his father fought for him? But Ethan's gentle reminders softened the edges. He was a product of his time, love. Forgiveness isn't for him, it's for you. The triplets became fixtures in their lives. Mia, the bold leader, dragged Brandon to soccer games in Golden Gate Park, where he cheered awkwardly at first, then with genuine enthusiasm. Liam, the quiet thinker, shared books on history, sparking conversations about their shared Irish roots. Noah, the artist, sketched portraits of the family, including Ethan as Uncle E. These moments built bonds, turning strangers into kin. Yet, tension brewed. Evelyn's health declined rapidly, cancer, aggressive, and unforgiving. Brandon visited weekly, driving up the coast with Ethan, the Pacific's waves mirroring his turbulent emotions. Why now? He vented one evening, staring at the sunset. After all these years alone, Ethan pulled him close, their foreheads touching. Because now you're strong enough to handle it. And you've got me. In San Francisco, Evelyn shared more secrets. Brandon's father hadn't abandoned him entirely. He'd sent anonymous checks to the foster system, fearing rejection if he revealed himself. Robert, his partner, had passed years ago, but left a journal detailing their life together, a quiet rebellion against societal norms. Reading it, Brandon saw parallels to his own story with Ethan, hidden love blooming into open commitment. One rainy afternoon, as Evelyn napped, the triplets confided their fears. What if Grandma goes? Mia whispered. Brandon knelt, hugging them. Then we'll keep her stories alive. Family doesn't end. That promise ignited a plan, a family reunion, inviting distant relatives who'd scattered after the scandals. Ethan organized it meticulously, turning their Malibu home into a hub of preparation. The reunion loomed, but doubts crept in. Would the relatives accept a gay couple at the center? Brandon paced, anxiety peaking. Ethan, sensing it, planned a surprise date. A picnic on the beach where they'd first kissed. Under the stars, he reaffirmed, "No matter what, you're my family first." Their kiss, passionate and reassuring, reignited the romance that had carried them through. As the day approached, Evelyn rallied, insisting on attending. Wheelchair-bound, she arrived with the triplets, her presence a beacon. Relatives trickled in, aunts, uncles, cousins from across the states. Whispers of the past surfaced, but Brandon addressed them head-on. "Our history is messy," he said, "but it's ours. Let's honor it with truth." The song echoed again, sung by all, unlocking not just memories but hearts. An uncle apologized for past homophobia, tears in his eyes. "We lost so much time." Brandon forgave, feeling the weight lift. Ethan stood by, proud, as the gathering turned celebratory. Laughter, stories, and dances under string lights. Through it all, the triplets' innocence highlighted the human value. Love transcended labels. Brandon realized his interrupted wedding wasn't a setback, but a gateway to wholeness. As night fell, he and Ethan stole away, whispering dreams of adoption, inspired by the children. Months passed, and the family bond strengthened, but Evelyn's condition worsened. Hospital visits became routine, each one a mix of hope and heartache. Brandon sat by her bed, holding her hand, as she recounted tales of his father's youth, rebellious, artistic, much like him. "He'd be proud," she murmured. The triplets visited too, their energy a balm, singing the family song to lift spirits. Ethan balanced it all, supporting Brandon while managing his design firm. Their home in Malibu, once a quiet retreat, buzzed with life. Weekend barbecues with the kids turned into traditions, where Mia taught Brandon to bake Irish soda bread, Liam debated history facts, and Noah painted murals on the walls. These moments wove a tapestry of belonging, but underlying was the grief of impending loss. One crisp autumn day, Evelyn called them urgently. "There's something I must tell you," she said weakly. Gathered in her room, she revealed a hidden trust fund from Brandon's father, set aside for him but forgotten in the chaos. "Use it for good," she urged. More shockingly, she confessed, Brandon had a half-sibling from his father's relationship with Robert, an adopted son named Jordan, now living in New York. The revelation hit like a wave. A brother? Brandon's mind reeled. Ethan researched immediately, finding Jordan online, a successful architect, openly gay, with a partner of his own. "This could be huge," Ethan said excitedly. But Brandon hesitated, fear of rejection resurfacing. "What if he wants nothing to do with us?" Encouraged by the triplets' optimism, "Go meet Uncle Jordan." They flew to New York. The city pulsed with energy, a stark contrast to California's laid-back vibe. Meeting Jordan in a cozy Brooklyn cafe, similarities struck. Same hazel eyes, same wry smile. "Evelyn told me about you," Jordan said, voice steady. "Dad spoke of you often, with regret." Over coffee, stories unfolded. Jordan, adopted after Brandon's father and Robert settled together, grew up in a loving home but knew of the lost son. The family song? Robert had taught it to him too. Singing it together, tears flowed, bridging decades of separation. Jordan's partner, Marcus, joined, adding warmth. "Family's what we make it," Marcus echoed Ethan's sentiments. Back in California, they shared the news with Evelyn, who smiled faintly. Now it's complete. Her passing came peacefully that night, surrounded by all, the triplets clutching her hands, Brandon and Ethan at her side, Jordan on video call. The funeral was a celebration of life, with the songs sung in harmony, honoring her role in reuniting them. Grief enveloped Brandon, but support poured in. Ethan held him through sleepless nights, their love an anchor. The triplets moved in temporarily with an aunt, but visits remained frequent. Inspired, Brandon used the trust fund to start a foundation for LGBT youth in foster care, naming it after his parents. To unlock lost histories, he explained at the launch, voice choked with emotion. Jordan visited often, forging a brotherly bond. They shared holidays, Thanksgiving in Malibu, Christmas in New York, blending families. The triplets adored their new uncles, and the group chat buzzed with plans. Amid it, Brandon and Ethan's relationship deepened, their wedding vows tested and true. One evening, As they watched the sunset, Brandon proposed again, not marriage, but parenthood. "Let's adopt," he said. Ethan agreed, eyes shining. Applications followed, a journey of paperwork and hope. The process was grueling, but their story inspired caseworkers. Finally, approval came. They welcomed a young boy, orphaned like Brandon, into their home. Naming him River, after the song's lyrics, they began a new chapter. The triplets, now like cousins, helped decorate his room. Through twists of fate, from a wedding interruption to a family's rebirth, Brandon found meaning, love, resilient and expansive, could heal even the deepest wounds. Ethan's hand in his, they faced the future, whole at last. With River's arrival, life transformed into a beautiful chaos. The 5-year-old, with his wide eyes and infectious giggle, brought joy that softened the edges of grief. Brandon, drawing from his own past, became a devoted father, reading bedtime stories and teaching the family song. Ethan, the fun dad, built forts and planned adventures, his creativity shining. The triplets integrated seamlessly, treating River like a little brother. Mia organized playdates. Liam shared educational toys. Noah drew pictures for his walls. Family dinners became lively affairs, filled with laughter and stories. Yet, challenges arose. River's nightmares from trauma, echoing Brandon's childhood. Nights spent comforting him strengthened their resolve. Professionally, the foundation thrived. Brandon spoke at LGBT events across the U.S., sharing his story. An interrupted wedding led to rediscovered roots. Let's help others find theirs. Donations poured in, funding scholarships and counseling. Ethan designed the logo, an intertwined oak and river, symbolizing unity. Jordan and Marcus relocated part-time to California, buying a nearby home. Joint vacations followed, to Yosemite for hiking, where the song echoed off mountains, reinforcing bonds. The relatives, once distant, joined occasionally, acceptance growing. But drama resurfaced when a conservative cousin contested the trust fund, claiming it invalid due to the family's non-traditional structure. Legal battles ensued, testing resilience. Brandon, fueled by anger, fought back. "This is for love, not hate," he argued in court. Ethan stood firm, their partnership unbreakable. The triplets, overhearing tensions, rallied. "We'll sing for the judge." Noah joked, lightening moods. Their innocence reminded everyone of stakes, future generations. Winning the case, Brandon felt vindicated, the funds secured. Romantic sparks reignited amid stress. Ethan surprised Brandon with a weekend getaway to Big Sur, where they hiked cliffs and renewed vows privately. Through every interruption, Ethan whispered, "I choose you." Their intimacy, passionate and tender, reaffirmed their core. River's first birthday with them was monumental. The whole family gathered, triplets, Jordan, Marcus, even extended kin. The song, now a tradition, brought tears and cheers. Evelyn's spirit felt present, her legacy alive. As years ticked by, the story evolved. Brandon wrote a memoir, Unlocked Melodies, detailing the journey. It became a bestseller, inspiring countless LGBT individuals to seek their truths. Interviews followed, spreading messages of hope. The triplets grew into teens, their bond with Brandon unbreakable. Mia pursued activism, Liam history studies, Noah art school, all crediting their uncles for guidance. River, thriving, dreamed of music, humming the song daily. One reflective evening, Brandon and Ethan sat on their porch, watching the kids play. From that wedding day, Brandon mused, "To this." Ethan smiled. Best interruption ever. The human value shone. In embracing the unexpected, they unlocked not just history, but endless love. Time flew, and the family expanded in unexpected ways. River, now 10, showed musical talent, composing variations of the family song on his piano. Brandon encouraged it, seeing echoes of his father's artistry. Ethan, ever supportive, enrolled him in lessons, fostering creativity. The foundation grew nationally, partnering with organizations in New York and Chicago. Brandon traveled for speaking engagements, sharing tales of resilience. "My wedding was hijacked by triplets," he'd say, drawing laughs, "but it gifted me a legacy." Audiences connected, many sharing similar stories of lost kin due to LGBT stigma. Jordan's involvement deepened. He designed community centers, infusing them with inclusive architecture. Marcus, a therapist, offered free sessions through the foundation, healing wounds. Together, they hosted retreats for reunited families, the song a centerpiece. Challenges persisted. River faced bullying at school for having two dads, igniting Brandon's protective fire. They addressed it head-on, educating staff and peers. Love makes a family, Brandon told the class, vulnerability raw. Support from the triplets, now in high school, helped. They started a GSA club, advocating fiercely. Romance between Brandon and Ethan endured, marked by anniversaries. For their 10th, they renewed vows in the same Malibu chapel, this time with family present. The triplets, taller and wiser, sang the song, their voices matured. River joined, his high notes pure. Evelyn's photo adorned the altar, a silent blessing. A new twist emerged. Through foundation work, Brandon discovered another half-sibling, a sister from his mother's side, living in Seattle. Contact was tentative, but positive. Meetings followed, adding layers to the history. More unlocked doors, Ethan quipped. The triplets' milestones brought joy. Mia's college acceptance for social work, Liam's history scholarship, Noah's art exhibition. Brandon beamed like a proud uncle, Ethan's arm around him. Grief revisited when an old letter surfaced from Brandon's father, expressing unspoken love. Reading it aloud, tears fell, but healing prevailed. He did what he could, Brandon reflected. Their home remained a sanctuary, filled with music, art, and love. Evenings often ended with group sings, the melody binding them. As Brandon looked back, the wedding interruption felt predestined, a catalyst for profound change. The human essence, in the face of disruption, embracing vulnerability unlocks true connection. Into File 5, approximately 1,000 words. In the twilight of their journey, as the children grew into adults, Brandon and Ethan's love stood as a testament to endurance. River, now a young musician, released an album inspired by the family song, dedicating it to his dads. Tours followed, with the whole clan cheering from front rows. The foundation became a beacon, influencing policy on LGBT adoption rights. Brandon testified in Washington, D.C., his story swaying hearts. From lost to found, he urged, let's ensure no one is left behind. The triplets pursued passions, Mia as an advocate, Liam a historian documenting queer histories, Noah an artist capturing family portraits. They credited Brandon and Ethan for their paths. Jordan and Marcus adopted twins, expanding the circle. Holidays swelled with laughter, the song evolving with new verses. Brandon, reflecting on it all, wrote a sequel memoir, emphasizing forgiveness and growth. That interrupted wedding, he concluded, was the beginning of everything meaningful. In quiet moments, he and Ethan walked the beach, hands linked. We've built a legacy, Ethan said. Brandon nodded, heart full. The ending was poetic. At a family gathering, as the sun set over the ocean, they sang together, one voice, one history unlocked. Love, in all its forms, had triumphed, proving that from disruption comes profound unity and human grace.